Hey folks, this is Jake Davis bringing you a top 5 today. It's been a few months since I did a top 5, nearly 3 months actually, and which is kind of weird because that's one of my favorite things to do for my channel. And today I'm going to bring you the first of 3 top 5 videos celebrating the cinematic event of Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I saw this movie last weekend, and I've been trying to get to these videos for the last few days, but I had some technical issues here. But just wow, what an amazing movie. I told anybody who will listen to me over the last week to see this film, and I just think it's one of Tarantino's finest films, if not his finest. So the first of these 5 videos, there will not be a Tarantino video. I already did that back in December. Please go watch it. I'm very proud of that video. It's the only video I've ever done that got a dislike. Today's subject is Brad Pitt, top 5 Brad Pitt movies. And I wasn't really sure how to go about this either. Do I base it by, go by Pitt's individual performances or the best movies that Brad Pitt are in? So I basically just decided what movies would I recommend you see strongly based on Pitt's work in it. So, number 5, Interview with the Vampire Chronicles. This movie came out in 1994. It was, I believe, the first horror film I ever saw at the theaters, but not the first R-rated movie I ever saw at the theaters. I don't know why I didn't go see something like, Freddy or Chucky or something like that. My first horror movie, some artsy-ass Anne Rice shit. Anyhow, this movie is a big part of why Top Brad Pitt is really a movie star today. He was, I think it was one of his first leading man performances, and even though everybody went nuts over Tom Cruise at the time, Pitt is very, very good in the film, almost irreplaceable as Louis. If you don't know the story is the title of the movie. A guy scores an interview with an honest-to-God vampire, and the vampire recounts his 200-year life as a monster. It's a good movie. It's a good movie despite some weird casting and one really terrible performance from Antonio Banderas. But I still definitely recommend seeing that film. Number 4 is Snatch by Guy Ritchie from 2000. Oh man, Snatch is such a wild, wild movie. Now this one's a bit of an ensemble, and these 5 films is probably the least amount of screen time Brad Pitt actually has. But he plays, he plays Mickey the Pikey, or Piker, and he's a boxer, he's a gypsy boxer, and he's the kind of guy who will take the money for the dive, but he's not going to take the dive. It's a great performance. He has this really weird thing he does with his voice. It's like she's terribly partial to Paramico Bubles. It's a crazy performance. He's absolutely great and just charismatic and captivating in it. Definitely see Snatch. It's a very, very fun movie. Basically, it's just about all this crazy stuff going on. You got bikers, you got gangsters, you got jeweler, hitman, and all this kind of stuff, and it all somehow revolves around this diamond. It's definitely a movie worth seeing. Number 3 is Seven from 1995, directed by David Fincher. I've always loved Seven. Absolutely love this film. Brad Pitt plays Detective David Mills, who is in this brand new city where it always rains. I don't remember them ever really making it clear what city it is, but definitely seems like it's Los Angeles. But I've always thought it had this amazing look to it. It had this whole kind of feel of comic books. It kind of looked like comic books from the time I was growing up, like Watchmen and the Killing Joke. It had this great look to it, and both guys are terrific, especially Morgan Freeman. But David Mills has a very, very emotional scene towards you. What's in the box? But I'm not going to tell you what's in the box because I want you to see Seven. I just want to assure you it's one of those. It's not a murder mystery where it's really a whodunit. It's so much more about the psychological and emotional effects the case has on the cops working on it. It's a very good movie. Very, very good movie. And it's also important to point out that in an era and a summer dominated by stuff like, Toy Story and Batman 3 and Pocahontas and Ace Ventura and Casper and all these kids movies coming out around the same time, and Seven just was just blew them almost all out of the water, except for Toy Story. But it was a huge hit, made almost just as much money as all those other, as like Batman Forever and Toy Story did. It was a really, really big hit of a movie. Number 2 is Burn After Reading. Now, I can't really see, is Burn After Reading less screen time or Snatch less screen time? But the whole concept of Burn After Reading from 2008 by the Coen Brothers is Brad Pitt plays Chad, who is a gym instructor. Get out here, dog. Dog, look at my leg. Anyhow, he's a gym instructor, and him and another gym instructor come across a CD, which is basically this jilted CIA guy's memoirs, and they think it's all this controversial shit and all this kind of stuff. It really only has any value to like this one guy. So, but they think they got they think they got high classification fucking government paperwork here. It's hysterical. It's a hysterical movie, and where they act like, well, we just want to get this back to you, but shouldn't you pay us for finding it for you? It's like they're so stupid they don't even realize they're blackmailing a fucking CIA operative. So obviously things do not go well for them or really anyone else in the movie because it's a Coen Brothers film. His movies are always about stupid people, their best movies to me are about stupid people getting into crime and getting way in over their heads. Which brings me to my number 1. If I was gonna recommend just one Pitt movie purely based on Brad Pitt's work in it, it would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Brad Pitt as Cliff Booth has never been a better cast in his entire career, and I really thought hard not to have this one, but there's just I didn't want it to be something I didn't want it to be Burn After Reading, a movie where he's only in like the first half of the film. Once Upon Hollywood, where he's probably most likely going to be nominated, most likely going to win the Best Supporting Actor Oscar. He's the second lead, and he's just so amazing in this. Like, his character is layered, and you feel for him, and I can't imagine anybody else ever playing this role. He's amazing in it, brilliant and emotional, and I gotta tell you, go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm not a shill. I'm under no one's fucking payroll. This stuff is even for free, man. I'm recommending this movie because I think you should see it, because I think you would love it. And Brad Pitt's the best thing about it. So I got a couple more of these coming around. I haven't even really started the work on the other 2, but I know what I'm gonna do. I hope y'all enjoy this video. Please like this video. Oh, some other honorable mentions. I got some honorable mentions, because even though they're not the ones I'd really recommend, or even necessarily my favorite Brad Pitt movies, some other Brad Pitt stuff really should be addressed. Brad Pitt is amazing in California. The thing is, nothing else about that movie is really on his level. True Romance is one of my favorite films he's ever done, but at the same time, he's only in like maybe 2 minutes of screen time as fucking Floyd. He's great in that. The whole movie, this is one scene, he's like 1 or 2 scenes, he just is laid out on the couch getting high as hell. And that's depth right there. He was terrific in 12 Years a Slave, which he does have an Oscar for, but that was as producer for the film when it won Best Picture. So Brad Pitt does have an Oscar, but just doesn't have an acting Oscar in series, the very famous movie star. You gotta think that's what he really wants. What else do I have here? I really think he was good in the Ocean's 11 movies. Very, very good performance. Trying to capture that swagger, bring out his own kind of swagger and machismo while playing the Dean Martin character without really trying to rip off Dean Martin. One of the better things about the movie. Curious Case of Benjamin Button. He's great in that, even though that's a movie I don't ever have to see again in my life. Inglourious Basterds is a movie I don't like at all. And one of the biggest complaints I got about that movie is there's nowhere near enough Brad Pitt. He was great in that. The Mexican is this weird movie from the early 2000s. It just has all kinds of crazy, quirky stuff in it. But he plays like the world's stupidest fucking smuggler. And he's like the main character. 12 Monkeys he's really good in 12 Monkeys. He's really good at Moneyball. But those are movies I could really give shit about. Anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you like my stuff. Hope you're looking forward to my next one. World War Z. Utter garbage. Don't see that. It took me a while to warm back up to him. He rubbed me wrong with fucking World War Z. I was basically after that, man, Brad Pitt just needs to go away. It wasn't until Once Upon a Time in Hollywood I got, that's right, he is kind of fucking great, isn't he? But no more World War Z. Just don't do that again to me. Anyhow, I'm Jake Davis, and I'll catch you on the fly.